But there was a point where I was pushing myself so hard, and things were just not going well. That snowball effect was happening with me. Anyone here have a hard time breathing ever? Or you know anyone who has shortness of breath? You do? Yes? It's not a fun thing. I would go sometimes for an hour at a time, so I get emotional about it still, an hour at a time, just trying to, and it's not there. And as a doctor, I can tell I'm getting oxygen in, I'm staying calm about it, but you know what it's like for an hour just waiting for that feeling of satiety? Like, oh, finally I can relax for a second. It's tough. And I would go hours at a time like that. And I made all this tape. See, without the proper support system, it's very easy to get off track. And I didn't have the proper support system in my life yet. I had one support system, I guess, but I was disconnected somehow from what was in my heart, what God was guiding me to do. And that right there just allowed me to continue going downhill. It led to, I had my own stomach issues. I had my own stomach issues, digestive issues. I was having pains. Things continue to progress. I've had nights where, I went actually over a year. I think I cut your beat without a normal evacuation. Okay. There was there was a time where I was feeling like everything was okay, and I would just keep putting it off. Oh, it's okay. See, I had a lot of faith in my life, but I kept saying, so that's why I said, if something happens, if something gets worse, I'd go. But I knew something was going on because symptoms, I want you guys to know what symptoms are. This is one thing that I want you to make sure you know today. Your symptom is your body's best way of letting you know that something's obviously going on inside your body, and something needs to change from above down, inside out. You're not meant to suffer for the rest of your life. And so, something needs to change, and I kept putting it off, And then one day I was going down to a comedy club with my wife. One of our patients had invited us down, and we went down to the city. And they have, not like the food here, it was I don't know, I forget what I had, some type of dip and bean dip or whatever, and I think I had a beer. On the ride home, I was cursing the food. I was cursing the place. I was cursing everything. I was cursing my liver, my gallbladder. I was cursing, I didn't know what it was, but in a period of 20 minutes, I went from discomfort to agonizing pain. And I was home on my bed on my hands and knees in agonizing pain, feeling like I was going to die. I tried everything holistically. I was like, oh, maybe it's my gallbladder, and I'm doing these gallbladder flushes, and nothing was working. I was like, oh, maybe it's... Nothing worked. I suffered. I had sleepless nights. I went to the best diagnosticians I know. I know the medical doctors are great. I have one, this one here, and for diagnosis. And I went there, and they told me that I had cancer, and that it wasn't even just appeared overnight. I had tumors the size of grapefruits inside. It was growing for years. As a matter of fact, it didn't start off cancerous. It was benign. But what happened was it completely cut off my intestines completely. That's why I was having to lose stools. They said my body's wisdom is amazing. To keep me alive and going for so long, it was literally liquefying everything just to push it through. But it completely closed it off. It was ripping my intestines apart. It was all fun. It wasn't just that. I was ulcerated from my stomach all the way down to the other end. Like my whole digestive tract was a mess. My iron levels were so low that it was undetectable. They checked it 6 times. They checked it 3 times on 2 separate occasions. And it kept coming back undetectable. I was hemorrhaging internally for a long time and we didn't know about it. And the point is that I did everything wrong. Okay? So I'm so blessed to be here with you. Every day is a celebration for me right now. I was told that I had an incurable condition. They wanted to cut me open, huge section for my intestines. Here I am, 35-year-old, doctor of chiropractic. That means I got to work with people every day close. And I'm going to have a bag smelling like that, like, and at the same time, I'm 35 years old. And not only that, but because I waited so long, you know how they say, I was already skin and bones. See, I was in bed for months. My daughter I would walk out to see my kids. I love my kids. I'm a big family man. And that's why in our office is a big family energy, family environment. And so I was confused because I was in pain. I didn't want my kids to see me that way. My face was all sunken in. I was pale. You know how you can see the rim around my eyes more because my eyes were sunken in. I was, and now you can see I'm not fat. The point is that it was not like that for me. And I didn't want my kids to see me that way. And at the same time, there was a part of me saying, the doctor said these tumors would never go away. What if I die? So I walk out to my living room. I see my daughter. I'm a Christian. My kids. I see Olivia. She's 3 years old at the time, and she's praying to Jesus to please heal my daddy. And I went to my wife, and I said, honey, I was so proud of her. and my wife goes, Tone, she's been doing that all day, every day. I didn't even know, because I was so disconnected. I couldn't work anymore. I don't know how my practice stayed open. We went through some downs. And all that being said, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Because that's the growth that I need. I was the most stubborn. There was a time where I said, God, if I die, I'm going to die putting my trust in you 100%, because I knew what to do. And then immediately, I had this shift, and I knew what to do, and I got checked for something that I'm going to describe to you today. And, at a deeper level than what I was doing before, and it saved my life. And as soon as I started correcting that, the tumor started going away. And I had to tell the doctors, they told me that I may not survive. See, I was already so skinny, so weak. I think like the first round of chemo, just within the first month, you lose like another 40, 50 pounds. But I was already losing another 10 pounds this month, another 10 pounds, another 10 pounds. Everything was coming up. I couldn't even try to eat anything. I was trying to do those organic green drinks, but I kept just sipping them as much as I can just to try to alkalize. If you guys know any stuff about holistic or big, health stuff, you know what I mean by alkalizing and eating your veggies, right? You gotta eat your veggies, right? More God-made foods and less Snickers. You gotta get more life in your body, right? But what saved my life was that. And I ended up never doing the chemo. I was told I had to do that. I never did the surgery. I'm physically whole. But even more importantly, I'm mentally and spiritually whole now. And I get to really just share that with people. And that's why this is one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. That's why the very worst thing that ever happened to me is also the very best thing that happened to me. I get to do with myself, what happened was I get to spend that quality time with my children and teach them. And their faith and their body's ability to heal when things are going the way it's supposed to be going is so strong now. And they don't live in fear. They don't live in fear. So we get to make a lot more happy memories now. And that's what it's really about, isn't it? It's about happiness. And that's what became my mission. To help bring more happiness to families. To help you create more happy memories. And for the rest of your life. The top 2 killers like cancer and heart disease, 5 out of 6 people, this is going to break your hearts. But it is that high. 5 out of 6 people that are basing their health on how they look and how they feel on the outside, they end up dying from heart disease and cancer. And not everybody past the age of 50. I was 35. So the thing is, health, the first thing I told you about was symptoms, and the second thing how you know is what health is. Health is not looking good and feeling good on the outside. Alright, or else guess what? Every model, supermodel, and actor on TV and actress, they'd all be perfectly healthy. But are they? No, right? So anyway, So the thing that saved me is this one thing right over here. I mean, I know that there's a power that made me, and I know that that power flows from above down, inside out. In other words, when I was just one cell, spermagnetic magnetism was one cell. Where did my